with an economic story. In fact, there's very poor unemployment figures here in France.
That's right. Let's start with the business paper Les Echos. 31,500 extra job seekers in February. More bad news for the government, and the timing couldn't be worse for François Hollande. This is a slap in the face right before round 2 of municipal elections, and Les Echos reminds us that round 1, well, was pretty much a slap in the face for the socialists. It's the 4th consecutive month that unemployment has been on the rise. So Les Echos says this really shoots down the promises that the government was making to either, well, inverse or stabilize at least the unemployment curve.
Okay, and of course that's a lot of people out of work there, but the paper's very much concentrating on what this means politically. Starts off with the right-leaning papers.
That's right. The right-leaning paper is a little bit pleased about the timing of these unemployment figures, it must be said. Let's take a look at Le Figaro, which says that unemployment is going wild and the left is panicking. This new increase is a real failure for the government, says Le Figaro, and it begs the question, is there a pilot in the cockpit? That's what Le Figaro wonders today in its editorial. This is a legitimate question you have to ask yourself, says Le Figaro, when you see an accumulation of such epic failures. Le Figaro talks about a pile of failures coming from the government. Now, in Le Figaro, the former Prime Minister, François Fillon, also gives his 2 cents about what's going on. This socialist flop in the first round of the municipal elections, rumors there could be a government reshuffle coming up. François Fillon says it's time for Hollande to reshuffle himself. These elections have completely discredited the socialists, says Le Figaro, not very surprising coming from Fillon. It's time for Hollande to stop being ambiguous. That's what Fillon says today in Le Figaro.
How does one reshuffle oneself? That's a question for everyone today, isn't it? Well, François Hollande, sticking with him, he says that he has heard the message from voters in the first round of those local elections, the socialists, like you say, slumping to very poor results last Sunday.
That's right. Well, according to Le Figaro, the Élysée is hoping to put in place a tax cut for struggling households. And Le Figaro says this is a move that Hollande wants to put in place to really reassure his electorate. And Le Figaro says that taxes, that's the surprise guest in between the 2 rounds. And the business, pro-business paper, L'Opinion, also focuses on this today and kind of mocks the timing of this announcement coming from the Élysée Palace. Really, right before round 2, says L'Opinion today, this is a desperate move from a desperate government. This move won't actually concern all that many people, just very poor households, but L'Opinion says it's a sugar-coated sweet, an attempt to soften the blow of what could be a terrible result in round 2, and to send a message to the left of the left.
It'll help as well just to reduce that sort of overall impression. François Hollande's government has increased taxes in 18 months as much as the previous 5 years did. So it'll be bringing it down only to a level still above where he was when he became president.
Absolutely, and taxes are an enormous issue here in France, aren't they? What about the left-leaning papers then? Obviously, normally, traditionally supportive of the government.
That's right. Well, Libération wonders, can Hollande really take a left, turn to the left of the left? Can he go even further left? And Libération says, well, Hollande is actually stuck between a rock and a hard place because on the one hand, he has his electorate that are making these demands, demanding him to be more of a socialist president than he is, but then he's got this economic policy that he's putting forward. So the president is torn, according to Libération, and Libération says he actually can't take a turn to the left because he's actually gone too far. And it's only in January that he announced that he was going to have more of a social democratic economic policy. He can't already change his course. That would just draw anger from businesses, Brussels, and financial markets. He can't afford to do that. So he has to keep going, even if that means going against his own camp.
Okay, well, we're going to stick with a very businessy economics type theme for our next story. Some very big deals signed between China and France.
That's right. Some 50 deals worth 18 billion euros signed with China. You can read all about it in Libération today as well, which says this is good news, but it says most of these deals will be carried out in China. A lot of them will be joint ventures, meaning that it will be Chinese companies that gain from French technology and French know-how in China. So it's good news, but not great either.
Not necessarily going to boost those employment figures any. Thanks very much, Florence Villeneuve, our press reviewer there, and Stephen Carroll, our business editor. We're going to take a short break here on Live from Paris. Coming up, a special report for you from South Korea in the boom of so-called baby boxes as ever more infants are abandoned. Find out why in the next half hour.
Special event.
On March the 30th, the French will elect their mayors. Record low participation, the rise of the National Front, progress of the opposition party, the UMP, and a protest vote against the government. Will voters confirm the trends of the first round? France 24 has planned a special evening of election coverage. At 8 o'clock Paris time, our political experts will comment on the first results. You can also react live to the results on France 24 and France24.com.